Does your student love the biosciences and looks good in a white coat? The Academy of Research and Medical Sciences at South Cobb is the magnet program we're discussing this week on the Inside Scoop. Hello, welcome back to the Inside Scoop. I'm David Owen. And please be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell, and share this podcast with a friend if you think they can get something out of it. If your student really enjoys science labs and generally does well in those classes, this week's magnet program focus may be right up your alley. Here to tell us more about Petri dishes, test tubes, and the like is the magnet coordinator for the Academy of Research and Medical Sciences at South Cobb High School, Angela Hurley. Angela, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you were on the podcast. Well, first, let me stop and apologize for folks. I'm sorry for my voice. I feel fine. I woke up sounding like I feel horrible, but I don't. I'm fine. So to get us started, just briefly tell us a little bit about you and how you came to be in the position you are at South Cobb.
So I began my career about 17 years ago as a middle school science teacher. Did that for several years. Then I transitioned to the high school level at South Cobb.
Okay.
Taught for a little while, and then I became the science academic coach there. When Dr. Kutcher moved on to his new position, I assumed his position as a magnet coordinator about 6 years ago. Okay,
that was Andrew Kutcher, who is now over the magnet programs, right?
Correct. So I still get to work with him, which is great.
Yeah, he's a great guy. We did a podcast that listeners, you can go find that one just to get a general overview if you haven't already found it. So in looking at the various magnet programs, yours is fairly unique. Can you tell us about the program at South Cobb?
Absolutely. So the Academy of Research and Medical Sciences at South Cobb is unique in the fact that our focus is research and medical sciences. We often get lumped together with Kennesaw Mountains and Wheeler's programs because we are a science program. However, we're not just like them in that capacity, meaning that we're looking at your students' aptitude in science and their appreciation for the writing pieces that go along with that.
So those programs really are more, I envision them as more like robotics and maybe mechanical engineering, things that are very math-centric. But yours being a biosciences focus, that's a very unique position, right?
Correct. A misconception is we're teaching students how to become doctors tomorrow. And that's not what we're doing. We're exposing them to the coursework they will see in the future. So there's a heavy emphasis on the life sciences and how they function and how they relate to us and how that relates to the medical field as well as research. So our students are in classrooms doing medical science, biotechnology. They're learning how to do these high-level labs and not only do the high-level labs, but also how to collaborate through that process. Yeah. So collaboration is a big piece for us. And the students are strong writers. They began doing annotated bibliographies and literature reviews, their freshman year, which is quite rigorous and challenging. Sure. But with the support of the teachers and with each other, the process is very rewarding for them.
Now, I am, again, this isn't a podcast about me. I get that. But my father was a mechanical engineer, and I was always looked to as the translator for him.
Yes.
Because there's something about the left brain people that makes it difficult sometimes for communication skills to develop where they really need to be to convey what you found in your research. Is that a fair thing to say?
I think it's very fair to say. And not only the written communication, but the verbal communication too. So being able to take that research that you have done with your group or maybe individually and then be able to share those findings to the general public in a way that they understand what these graphs, what these words mean. Yeah. Because that's what's most important is that whatever you're doing is accessible for the general public. Yeah. The general public may not have an understanding of all these scientific words and jargon that you're choosing to include in this paper.
So it's one thing to have data, it's another thing to have information, right?
That is correct. And that's a big emphasis for us as well is, how to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
And how do you communicate that effectively with everyone?
Yeah, so that everybody understands and does what's needed for whatever it may be.
Right, and building that confidence to be able to stand in a group of people who may be college professors, medical professionals, or they may be just your parents.
So let me take us back a notch. If someone walked into your your area, do you? Well, let me let me ask this question. I'll set it up. Maybe, do you have a separate wing or building or whatnot from the general ed community at South Cobb?
Well, yes, we have an area of the building, the advanced learning building, we're now calling it. We've moved from across the campus where we used to be located.
Okay.
And now we're in a newer facility. Our students take most of their classes in that building, but they do venture into other parts of the campus as well to take other courses. Mm-hmm. We do have a new magnet cafeteria, which is unique for us. The children have a space. It's kind of like a cafeteria / learning commons, a facility that allows them to see me outside of my office or outside the classroom setting. It's not uncommon to see me eating lunch with students and just having general conversations about what's going on, how a class is going, how the Friday night football game was. So that is unique for us and appreciated space by the students.
How many students ballpark are in the program there?
Yeah, we're a smaller program. We have approximately 165 students in our magnet program. Okay,
so I imagine that's very competitive to get into that.
Yes, we could accept more. That's not the top number, like that's the drop dead number of students that we can have. Right, we're not maxed out at that number. I do feel like our numbers are smaller because we're so specialized, and people think they have to just want to be a doctor or a nurse or a surgeon to attend our program. That's a huge misconception.
So where would you envision your students ending up in life? I mean, we talk about student success, and not everybody, like you just said, not everybody's going to end up being a medical professional necessarily. Where do you see them winding up in their career with this kind of a background?
Anywhere they want to go. And
don't give us a cop-out answer.
And it's not really a cop-out answer. Broad. It's just, we have students who come to our program who are now in medical school. We have students who go on to become lawyers. Okay. So there's no...
So the skill sets they learn in your program aren't constrained to a medical career?
No, not at all, because, most majors, those to study, are going to require a level of research, a component of writing. And our students are well versed in that and prepared for that. So I think what we do is expose them to all the possibilities. And that internship piece that they're allowed to do their senior year opens up a huge door for them, because there is no stipulation on where they have to do it. Okay. So we've had students working in prosthetic offices, helping build prosthetics, fitting people for prosthetics. We've had students working with air conditioning, especially areas, just trying to learn about the engineering component and what does that look like, because they've decided they want to go into an engineering field. And then we have students that are in the medical offices or realtor offices. There's no constraint. Right. And so we encourage that. This is the time for you to go out and figure out what it is you think you want to do next.
Yeah. So if you're going to make that kind of career decision, having this exposure to what it includes, imagining that somebody is picturing a career maybe in a lab working somewhere or a medical office or whatnot, they might go through it and find, that's really not my forte. This is all very, very good and fine, but and it looks great on the college application, that's for sure. But it may not be the thing I want to do for the rest of my life, kind of thing, right?
Absolutely, and this is a time to do it when it's free. Before you spend, years and thousands of dollars in a college program, and you need to find out towards the end, this is not what I thought. This is not what I want for my future. Yeah. So it's a safe space to do that exploring early on. Yeah. And to see what your true interests are.
It makes me think of the parent who has a student who changes majors in college multiple times, right, and has to pay for those extra semesters and so forth. Well, what specific areas of study are offered in the program? Do you call those tracks, or tell us a little bit about what your offerings are within the program?
Right. So we offer the advanced placement science and math courses, English, history courses, like all other high schools offer. Okay. Our focus, though, is the biotechnology pathway. Mm-hmm. So students take medical science their sophomore year, coupled with anatomy. Okay. So they're learning about the body systems and then how they function medically. And they are then applying them together simultaneously, with the teachers collaborating on lessons. So they're getting CPR certified, basic life support certified. They're doing suturing. And then their junior year, they're moving on to doing, more essentials of biotechnology, where they're developing even more laboratory skills, collaboration skills with each other. And then all 4 years they're taking research courses. So they're beginning, ground level of what does research look like? How do I do research? What is an annotated bibliography? How do I work with the partners to complete this literature review? And it goes all the way up to advanced scientific research and internship, where they're doing an individualized scientific project by themselves and presenting it.
Okay, all right. That was my next question, because you could do a research project, but if nobody challenges you, then...
Right. And that's what's great about our program. We have a lot of buy-in from the community. So we have people from outside of the school come in and talk with all the students who've conducted that research that senior year and give them feedback and judge their projects. So professionals from Caldwell Star Hospital, from Georgia State's public health program have come in, and they give the students that feedback on the research they've conducted and how it was done.
Yeah, that is just phenomenal exposure to the industry, I guess you'd call it, or that segment of the workforce. So how can parents know if their candidate would be a good that their student would be a good candidate for your program? I joked at the open that if you look good in a white coat, that might be your sign, but there's a lot more to it.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about who you would see as the best candidate.
Those students who like science, who are curious, who want to know more about what things are and how things work. If your student likes to write, likes to research, likes to figure out how, what, when, where, why, they would be a great fit for our program. But I think the best way to know if it's a good fit for your student is to actually come visit the campus. Yeah. Not only just the open houses, but we have our annual white coat ceremony.
What is that?
Yeah, so it's when our juniors receive their white coats. It's a very, very nice ceremony as they're preparing to transition to their research and internship classes their senior year.
Oh, wow. And
our seniors who are completing their internship and research are receiving stethoscopes to signify the completion of the requirement.
Oh, that's cool. That's like a pre-graduation kind of thing.
It's kind of a celebration, and the students get very excited about it, and it's great to see them, excited about this recognition that they're receiving.
Sure.
And it pays homage to all the work they've done throughout the program.
Yeah, it's always nice to be recognized for all that you've put into something like that.
Yes, right? Because these programs are rigorous, and they're challenging. And the students have to sacrifice to get there. And we want to always acknowledge that and put that at the forefront. But we appreciate the work that they're putting in.
So if a student or parents believe their student is a good candidate, what does the application process look like? I imagine it's competitive, right?
It is competitive. But the application opens October 1st and closes December 1st. Okay. The students complete the application on the Magnet portal. It's the same application for all the academic magnet programs.
Okay.
The piece that's different is each school has a writing prompt that we're requesting students respond to. And that's really important to us to see where the students are with their writing and their ability to communicate their thoughts and ideas.
Sure.
And we look at those teacher recommendations as well. That's really important for us because we don't meet these students before they arrive on our campus a lot of times. So that feedback from their teachers is really, really important for us.
Yeah.
But the application itself is very straightforward. It shouldn't take students longer than an hour to complete.
Okay. And they can apply to multiple magnet programs.
Absolutely.
as
and
well,
we encourage them to do so. If your student is interested in a different experience outside what the normal high school experience would be, we encourage them to apply to all and any programs that might interest them.
Okay. And one of the things I was talking with a friend recently about, we tout the fact that Magnet offers transportation, which is wonderful. No matter where you are in Cobb County, we can get you there. But then they were questioning, well, what about the extracurricular things? Because your students are typically the leaders, right? They're the drum majors, the quarterback. I mean, we heard that from another Magnet coordinator.
Right.
So if you are in the northeast corner and you're trying to get to and from South Cobb to pick your child up or take them there for whatever, that's still on you for the extracurricular stuff, right?
It absolutely is.
Not to dissuade someone.
No, you shouldn't be dissuaded by that because there are ways, and parents are creative. But it is important to know that this is not only a commitment for the student, but it's also a commitment for the family as well, for the parents, because there are going to be times when the student needs to come in early, maybe for tutoring, or stay late for practice or for a club. Because like you mentioned, they are the most involved students on our campuses. They are involved in everything that you could possibly imagine a high school student would want to do. They do it. And if they don't have it on campus, they create it. So there is a buy-in, but we do have like active magnet parent associations, who encourage parents to talk and meet each other.
Oh, no, that's a new thing. I in talking with all the coordinators so far, I haven't heard anyone mention that there's a parent, or at least in this case, there's some sort of commingling with the parents to help get through this.
Because we can't do it alone, and we really pull the community part in to help us support the students.
Yeah.
So that parent association is kind of like a booster club, as you might know from sports. So they help bring in speakers. They help, help parents communicate with each other. They help fundraise to help supplement the fun things like white coat ceremony and magnet graduations. They supplement those things. So that's a good way. It's like getting involved in that organization early on. You'll meet parents and maybe set up carpools, and that's helpful.
Yeah.
Can you pick the kids up this Tuesday from this club, and then I'll get them next week. So that part is helpful.
That's a huge benefit, just to collaborate with other parents. And I imagine some parents maybe of the older magnet students could share little tips and tricks for the younger magnet students as well.
Absolutely, because as a parent, you need to know how to support my child through the process. What does it look like? And at different levels, we have parents involved, and they can help and give feedback on how they approached, AP chemistry or AP Bio or AP Statistics. How do they support their child getting through that coursework?
Well, Angela, this has been very informative. I really appreciate you taking the time to come in and share this information with parents. And of course, parents would probably be smart to coordinate stopping by and seeing your facility. I know that years ago I got to see the old facility, and it was impressive. College level labs and all the sorts. So very impressive, and I appreciate you coming in and sharing that. So we'll make sure we put all of the links for application and so forth in the show notes. And you can find the show notes by visiting the podcast homepage in the description. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching it on the podcast homepage, it's right there in front of you. So if this podcast was helpful to you, please give us a like and a review. Don't forget to share it with a friend, too. Thank you for tuning in to The Inside Scoop, a podcast produced by the Cobb County School District.